The question that humanity has been asking since the beginning of time: what is the most cinematic focal length? Is it 35? Is it 50? Is it 200? Is it an anamorphic focal length? Is it a focal length in the air on a drone?
What if it was none of them and all of them at the same time?
So often I see people asking on YouTube or Threads or Twitter, what is the most cinematic focal length? Like, what lens will make my footage the most cinematic? And I get it, because lenses do shape the way we see the world. But if you're chasing a magical focal length that'll make all your footage look super cinematic, then we're missing the point. The word cinematic is obviously a divisive word in the YouTube space, but I don't think it should be. It's just used to describe a visual that makes the viewer or the creator feel like this looks like a movie. Obviously, this phrase is subjective, but it's fueled by passion, hence why I don't think cinematic should be a negative word in the YouTube space. Now, I tend to lean towards anamorphic lenses because that's what our eyes are used to seeing as cinematic, because when we're sitting in the cinemas, 70% of the time, the movie we're watching is filmed on an anamorphic lens. So the intro was mostly shot on anamorphic lenses, but that doesn't mean you have to shoot anamorphic to get the cinematic look. Cinematic doesn't mean anamorphic. It doesn't mean a certain focal length. It just means that the visuals give you that, oh my God, this looks like a movie. And that can come through multiple different ways. Some aren't even visual. This aligns with what I'm trying to say today. The DNA of a cinematic image isn't the lens you're using, it's the feeling you get from the image. Cinematic isn't an ingredient, it's a recipe. Lens, story, light, sound, all the above or combination of leads to that, oh my God, this feels like a movie, which is obviously where the word cinematic comes, because that's where, our heart starts to burn a little bit and we get excited. It's a combination of lighting, shot type, soundtrack. This aligns with what I'm trying to say here today. The DNA of a cinematic image isn't a certain focal length or piece of equipment. The cinematic look isn't a look, it's a feeling that any piece of visual material gives you. It's like, oh my God, this feels like a movie. Hell, even just music can make something go from looking normal to cinematic. For example, and now with a backtrack. See, even that small difference, which had nothing to do visually, makes something go from being footage to cinematic. Any focal length can be cinematic when tied with the right shot type to best tell your story. For example, a wide angle lens like a 24 or 35 could be used for an establishing shot to show your scenery, or it could be used for a close-up to sort of build tension, bring the viewer in, and even make things a little uncomfortable. 50mm is often looked at as the neutral lens, as it's the closest to how we perceive the world naturally. It's great for naturalistic viewing, dialogue scenes, all those medium close-ups that feel natural and grounded. 85 to 135 is where you start to get a bit more compression and a bit more romanticism, and the out of focus areas become a bit more creamy. They often feel softer, kind of more intimate, and obviously more close-up. Focal length doesn't just work alone, it coincides with shot type. A close-up with 24mm, it feels intense, a bit warped, uncomfortable, distorted, where the same close-up with a 135 feels like soft, flattering, has a totally different feel. So it's all about matching focal length up with shot type to best sort of portray the story or mood you're trying to. For my own projects, whether it's a fun short film or a fashion shoot, my lens choice always begins with what mood am I trying to portray. For mystery or surrealism, I might get wide and close, where for beauty, flattering images, that kind of romanticism, I might back up a bit, use a longer lens for more compression. I think shooting on an anamorphic lens, because it's what we're used to seeing in the movies and whatnot, it just naturally creates a good foundation for a cinematic image. And then if you combine it obviously with the right lighting, shot type, whatever, builds up to be a very cinematic image that just makes us go, this looks like a movie. Whether it's a fashion film, a documentary, anything. It's just with the right combination, that's what gives us that cinematic feeling that makes us resonate in our brains that this looks like a movie. So to wrap up, what's the most cinematic lens? It's the one that tells your story best. It's the shot type you use in the right situation. It's the lighting, it's the soundtrack. That is what makes a cinematic image, not a certain focal length. Whether it's 24, 50, 135, whatever, use it with purpose, because that's what will lead to creating a feeling in your story. And with purpose, that's where the cinematic look arises. I know what I do if I'm watching a movie and there's just a certain scene that I just love. I'll analyze it, I'll research it, I'll sort of see how it was done, what might have been used, like the lighting setup. I might even Google if it was shot on film or not, maybe try and find an article where the colorist is talking about color grading, just like kind of become a sponge to all that information, because then you'll naturally start to employ it in your own work, and then you'll start to like your work more because it starts to look like your favorite movies or your favorite shots. Now, this is very important. I'm not an expert in the slightest. I am just sort of trying to give you a fresh perspective. If you're sitting there and YouTubing, what focal length looks the most cinematic, and you've probably watched a bunch of videos about focal lengths or about certain lenses, where I want to just give a fresh perspective and sort of an overarching look at what makes the most cinematic image combined with the right focal length and everything else. You get all the right ingredients to make the cinematic recipe. All of a sudden, when it all comes together, you get that little fire in your belly, you get some goosebumps, you're looking at your shot and you're like, holy shit, this sort of looks like a movie. And then that's the magic of filmmaking. I'm curious to know what's your favorite focal length and why, and if there's anything you want me to cover or any comments you may have, please leave them below. I'm loving this YouTube journey, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribe, share, whatever. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video.